Hey, everybody. Remember, if you're a fan of the Tennessee Volunteers or just sports in general, please like, comment, and subscribe. Any and all support's greatly appreciated. Now, let's get to the video. Hey, guys. How's it going? Josh here. Happy Saturday to Kentucky fans. Not so happy Saturday for Tennessee fans. Wanted to hop on here. The game ended probably about 45 minutes ago. Wanted to recap my thoughts of the game that we saw, how it finished, and what this means for the next couple of weeks. So, I mean, really dissecting it, at a high level, if we were to summarize it, it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? That first half of basketball was probably against a real competent team. One of the best halves of basketball I've ever seen Tennessee play, just in general. I mean, really, of any team that we've watched. Threes dropping left and right. Nate Ament looking like a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. Jacoby Gillespie not missing. Bishop Boswell being physical, out rebounding, out hustling Kentucky left and right. That half of basketball was beautiful. But we finished with a 14-point lead. We even had 2 free throws gifted to us at the very end. It was an accurate call. It was a foul that happened. So we went into the half with momentum. But what did the announcers keep saying? Tennessee had a 17-point lead against Kentucky the last time they played, and Kentucky clawed back and they won. So it's in the back of our mind. It was in my group chat with my friends. I was texting my dad throughout the game. It's like, man, if we come out and we play sloppy in the second half, we very well can blow this, especially when you're in Rupp. And that's exactly what happened, right? In the second half, credit Mark Pope, who is a hell of a coach and gets the most out of his players. It's incredible. I don't hate the guy. I don't like Kentucky, but man, I can give him props as man, he knows how to game plan and he knows how to make adjustments. And whatever he did game plan wise, I'm not exactly a technical guy on basketball, but he switched up who was on Nate. He completely removed Gillespie from the game. I think Gillespie finished with 15 total points after having like 14 points in the first half. So completely neutralized those 2 players and then said, okay, rest of Tennessee, go win this game. And they couldn't. The rest of the team, aside from Bishop Boswell, who was hustling left and right and who was unfortunately just getting pummeled in the face over and over again, the team just wasn't up to that challenge. And I think that's been what we've seen throughout the season, right? Ament and Gillespie have to be really good for us to win these games. And when they are really good and they're able to sustain it throughout 2 halves, we're able to win. And when they're unable to sustain that, we lose. And that's just been evident from a handful of our losses that we've had, right? You think back to Arkansas when Ament wasn't that great. You think back to Florida when we just got out physicaled, and then now both losses to Kentucky, you just got out game planned. And I sent out a tweet right with about 5 seconds to go because we did have a chance technically to win it. And by the way, Gillespie almost banked that half-court shot in. Still don't know if you're Kentucky or another team. Why don't you just foul there? But that's beside the point. I sent out a tweet and I said there was 4 crucial things that happened throughout this game that really cost us. The first is Kentucky was able to whittle away our lead. We went from 14 points down to 2 points before we had a timeout by Rick Barnes. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a better coach than Rick Barnes. There's few better coaches than Rick Barnes in this nation. But when your team's struggling, you have your double-digit lead slowly milked away, man, that lead gets down to 7 or 8 points, 6 points, call a timeout, waiting until it's a single possession, and that's when you think the momentum's fully shifted. That's unacceptable. That just really screwed us over. Second thing, I alluded to this, they switched up who was guarding Nate in the second half, and he was incredibly physical, and he was virtually able to eliminate Nate from being a real factor in the game. Nate had some really good looks at the end of the game, a really nice shot towards the end to tie it up. But for the most part, in the second half, he was quiet. Still a really good game. This is exactly the type of game that you would expect from an NBA caliber player. But in the second half, he was largely ineffective. The third point, and I never enjoy like dogging players or anything like that. Like, I don't enjoy it, but I call myself the Vols truther for a reason. We have to be honest and we have to be direct about what we see. Missing Felix Okpara tonight was a big deal. JP Estrella is not physical enough for the types of bigs that he's going up against him. And what am I saying? Several times he was blocked going up to shoot. Rather than slamming it or bringing it down with two hands, he's trying to kiss it off the glass. Man, you're 7 foot tall. For the love of God, use both of your hands and slam that thing, or just put it in forcefully. These weird, jump hook top shots. Yes, when they hit, they're cool, but man, I want an Okpara out there who's just going to take the ball and he's going to slam it down. It was very evident that, especially in the second half, when a lot of it was riding on JP and Dwayne Brown, who's, of course, young, and Jalen Carey, they were just getting out physical. And JP Estrella, especially, was just super out physical. And then the last thing, and I think this is appropriate for us to take a look at the box score here. Our free throws weren't terrible. We actually shot surprisingly better for them from the field, but the timeliness of the misses were just backbreaking. Again, JP got to the line there at the end. It showed he was 1 of 5. Now he ended up converting 2 of those free throws, which put him at 3 and 7. But that's just not going to get it done. Right. Bishop had a shockingly good game from the line, but this is a difference where if you make those free throws, just 3 or 4 more, you likely win the game. Turnovers, 4 more turnovers, not the worst turnover margin that we've had this year, but certainly not good. Again, there's a few possessions and points there. It swings the game. We out-rebounded them. If I'm not mistaken, they shot much better than us. We were on fire from the first half, and then we just finished. I think at one point we were shooting like 6% from the field. I think we were like 2 of 20 or something like that from the field, which was just god-awful, atrocious. This is an unfortunate loss. Kentucky's a rival. It's never fun to lose to arguably your most hated rival in basketball. There's just something about Mark Pope that he just has the code against us. And again, kudos to him. Kudos to Kentucky. Compared to where they were at the beginning of the season, I think they're in a similar trajectory to us. They keep improving. They keep getting better. And those are the teams that are continuing on this progression that will do something in March. For us, I don't think this derails the season. We've still got a lot of positives. We still have a pretty manageable remaining of the schedule upcoming. We can probably get a decently seeded, potentially a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament. We'll have to see. I do think this all but eliminates us from any contention of the SEC regular season title. Again, we'll see how that shakes out, but two losses now to Kentucky, the tiebreakers and stuff of that nature, barring some type of epic collapse by them. So this is unfortunate, but we'll end on like a positive, a silver lining. Man, I don't know what it was in that first half, but if you can take that first half and you can stretch it throughout the month of March, Tennessee is a legitimate Final Four contender. I truly believe that. Now, the second half, that collapse that we just witnessed, one of the second most ugly collapse that I've seen so far this year from us, ironically, both just against Kentucky. But man, if we can clean up, if we can keep improving, things are trending in a positive direction. And say what you will, Nate finishes with 29 points. Man, he was electric. He's been electric. He keeps getting better. Hopefully this puts even more of a chip on his shoulder and he continues to will us to victories. But let me know what you think. Again, kudos, credit to Kentucky. It sucks that we lost. It sucks that we lost to Kentucky, but you've got a good coach and you're peaking at the right time. So I'll eat humble pie and say kudos to you on that. But let me know what you think below. If you're a Tennessee fan, did you see this coming? When did you know this collapse was about to happen? What's it mean for the rest of our season? And if you're a Kentucky fan, feel free to quote in the comments. But yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks again for stopping in today. And remember, if you like this content, I can't ask enough. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Any and all support's greatly appreciated. And as always, go Vols!